Hello and welcome to another one of our master classes by our alumni, Vanessa, who's just finished her project. Her lecture is going to be on the art of storytelling and um, how it aligns with the nature and purpose of design as a creative activity. Vanessa, she developed a very interesting project over the area of olive oil packaging, and this is what is this masterclass is about her process. It's about how she methodologically approached her design challenge, and to learn more about how the best practices of design can be applied to sustaining and advancing traditional techniques, traditional industries, such as olive oil. So, without further ado, over to you, Vanessa.
Thank you very much, Professor Abhishek. I will start my presentation. So this is the branding masterclass. It is a project, as the title suggests, about storytelling and how storytelling helped me craft a whole brand. So this is the agenda. So you can see all the contents that I will talk about. So at first, I would like to talk about the masterclass aim. And I think as it is a branding masterclass, as the title suggested, I think it was important for me to tell you about branding and marketing. I think the project is informed by both branding and marketing. Branding really tells you who a brand is, who you are, and marketing, it tells you how to tell the world. It really teaches you how to tell the world. So I think both fields should really coexist in order to make good outcomes. So in this case, both fields, branding and marketing, really motivate the target audience to purchase the product. For me as a designer, to create a really good storytelling and craft and narrative that hopefully encourages my target audience to purchase my product. So this is the masterclass aim, to prove how both branding and marketing inform the project. It's very slow. So the project's aim instead is a design-focused research. Basically, I aimed to rebrand my family's olive oil business. So it goes without saying that it's a very important, special, and personal project for me. So it was kind of test for me. It was a pilot project for something that I would like to bring to life. So I would like to create my own brand, my own olive oil brand with my own packaging, my own name. So the purpose of this intervention was to explore how design can be leveraged, can be used to employ both storytelling, as I said, again, marketing, branding, to shape a concept and to shape a company's perception. So as I wrote here, storytelling shapes the identity, and as a result, a strong identity builds loyalty. So again, it encourages customers to come back to you and purchase and get into all your stories. So I think it's very important to establish this kind of connection. So I want to briefly talk about the project's methodology, as it was basically what structured the whole project. I think when you begin such projects, it's very important to have have a structure. So choosing a methodology that will inform your research, that will inform your project development, that will inform the prototypes and the testing, it is really important to implement it since the beginning. So I chose the design thinking methodology that includes define, empathize, ideate, and prototype. There are these four major phases. And yeah, I basically chose it because it's a non-linear methodology, so it's very flexible, and I like, to come back to certain phases, iterate, change. So this was the best methodology for me. So also because it's a very human-centric methodology, so it is very important to empathize with the human needs, of course, as we are creating something for humans, for clients that are real people. So to begin the project, I obviously started with the context of olive oil. So I conducted a quite thorough research about the entire context. So I talked about the historical roots of olive oil. So I studied the olive tree, which is, of course, what creates olives, which will create the olive oil. So it was very important to study about olive trees, where they are around the world, what benefits olive oil has. So this was everything in the define phase, so in the very beginning phase of the project. So I think this phase really informs all the next phases of the projects. For example, it was very important to define that the historical roots of olive trees and the role of olive oil in ancient economies, for example, highlight a strong appreciation for heritage. So during my research, I really understood that clients, that the target audience really values the cultural heritage, the message. So it's very important to create a story that also informs your customers about where your product comes from. So I talked about the olive trees, the harvesting, where they are around the world, and the health benefits. And I think everything that I've talked about in the research really defined the social media, the digital presence that I've created, which I will talk about later. So the second phase was the empathize phase, which was the biggest and the longest part. This is the market analysis, customer segmentation. I think this is a very, very crucial part in such projects, because you really have to know who you are selling to. You have to know who you are talking to. So you have to know who your customers are, what they like, what they don't like, what they prioritize. And for example, it was very important for me to conduct SWOT analysis. SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Through this analysis and graphics and statistical data, it was very clear that the customers, that certain segments prioritized authenticity, regional identity, product purity, heritage, and all these important elements of the olive oil industry, what create the olive oil industry, were something that really needed to be considered, because customers prioritize this. For example, some customers prioritized the health conscious market. Some others prioritized premium quality packagings. So I think conducting this research really informed what direction I was going to be going to. For example, studying about customers who really wanted some premium quality packaging. I had to know that I had to create something that evoked a sense of authenticity, purity, but also premium quality, because I am giving a product that is premium. Olive oil that I sell is premium quality, good quality. So also the packaging had to reveal this kind of thing. So yes, this whole phase, the emphasize phase, was basically conducting data about the customers, about segments, about the competitive market, what is going on in the industry. And I think it's very important in all projects, but specifically in this project, because it's a very competitive industry. There are companies which are huge, so you really have to know what customers prioritize. Then the most fun part, I would say, is the ideation phase, where I started crafting the visual identity. Of course, the visual identity in such projects and the branding and marketing projects is so important, because you are basically saying, this is me, this is my brand, this is who I am, this is what I'm trying to convey to you. So this phase was basically creating concepts, creating mood boards, and taking inspiration from precedents, examples from other companies. So as you can see here, I created a mood board for logos that created a sort of vision of authenticity, of a rustic feeling. So I really wanted my logo to be playful, to be nostalgic, and that's why I chose all hand-drawn drawings. So I think it was that the direction I wanted to go to was this kind of aesthetic. Then I created a mood board for typography, so that I had a vision of more or less what typography I was going to go to, and then the packaging. As you can see, I gravitated towards something that was full color, so nothing very popular, but something a bit different, something more authentic, something that catches your eyes if it's on the shelf. So this was the vision boards that I created during the ideation phase. The ideation phase, of course, involved developing the brand. So creating the name, crafting and designing the logo, and starting to draw some sketches of the actual product. So on the left, you can see a zero. The zero is basically a vase, as you can see, and it was used in ancient societies to store olive oil because of its properties, of its materials. It's a very good, it's made of terracotta, which is a very good material for storing olive oil in cold temperature without direct light. So it's a very good container. And I said, well, what's best than to call my my brand Lo Zero than something like this? That's something that directly reminds you of olive oil or the Mediterranean aesthetic. So then I wanted to create something nostalgic, something authentic, something pure, something basically that reminded of the product, of everything that olive oil, at least what the type of olive oil that we produce. So I wanted to create a story on my packaging, and I created a hand-drawn logo that depicts two kids playing out a love story. So I wanted something simple yet evocative, something that I don't know, when you see the packaging, you will say, oh, that's what the childhood used to be, like playing out and acting out a love story and giving flowers. In fact, you can see the boy giving flowers to the girl, but instead of flowers, obviously I wanted to remind of volleyball. So instead of flowers, it's a bunch of olive branches. So I think it's a very cute way to be nostalgic and to still remind of olive trees and olive oil. And I think storytelling, this is where storytelling comes. I think I wanted to implement storytelling in the packaging itself because it's such an important tool in marketing, in branding. And I think it is proven that when you tell a story, people remind you in a better, much better way. So you tell a story, they remember what you said. So what better way to be remembered than seeing a lovely hand-drawn logo of two kids playing, on a shelf. Imagine that. I thought that was very nice. So after the many iterations, I sketched out some. Well, this is only two, but I sketched many. I sketched two tints. So just to know, to understand what I wanted to do. In fact, I wanted to implement a zero, a base here on the side, and then the kids here, and then on the other side, it remained empty. But then after some feedback, I also created something, but I will talk about it later. After developing the brand, I created, of course, prototypes, social media, the digital presence in general, like the website. It was time to create an actual product, something that I would promote. So I started creating mock-ups. For example, you can see on the left, you can see a bag. So I tried this mock-up with my label. I think it would have been nice to create, packaging that you could put the product, the tin or the bottle, whatever, in the bag with the Lo Zero label. I think that's very good for marketing. Then you can see the label itself with the nutritional values, the logo, the different fonts and typography that I chose. Then I tested the label in black and white to make sure that it was inclusive, accessible. It was good for printing, for digital, for the digital presence. So yeah, I conducted several tests to make sure everything was on point. Then I created some mock-ups of the actual tin, and I think it turned out pretty nice because from the mock-up, I created the real product that you could see in all the pictures that I include in this presentation. So yeah, this is the prototypes and digital presence. I have the Instagram account here and the website that you can, of course, open later. If I open it now, I think it will be a little bit too lengthy, but I can do it. You tell me. Shall I open one or no?
Since we have time, please feel free.
Okay. Okay, so I will try to open the Instagram account. Oh, it's telling me to log in. well, okay, you can still see something. So to test how the Instagram would come out, I put a whole grid of 6 images. So, well, not 6, sorry, 8 images. So I did a whole photo shoot of my tin with bruschetta, with bread, with olive oil. So it was a very fun way to really understand what the digital presence would look like. And again, this is a test, so it's public, but it's not used yet. So I will probably start using it from the new year, when the produce will be a little bit more, when we start harvesting the olives. Then, wait, sorry, I lost my presentation. Okay, now I will just open the website. Oh, so this is the website that I created. It's not this. This is only a test for the final major project. It's not something that is going now, so you cannot buy products right now. So I'm sorry about it. But yeah, this was just 1 second. Okay, this was a good way to test what I wanted to implement in the digital presence. For example, I put a description of our heritage. This picture that you can see is my dad picking olives. So it's very personal, it's very familiar, it's very authentic, genuine. And this is what I really wanted to convey throughout my whole digital presence. This is something that tells the story about my family, about me, about my product, about my brand, basically. So this was just something to test the product shop. Well, this was something I created just for fun. So meet the team. So this is me, my boyfriend, my dad. So an entire team, as all companies have. And then I created a blog, because I think when you sell something, creating a blog where your customers can read and can really delve into what you are doing, what activities you are doing in the company. I think it really evokes this sense of authenticity, and really makes them closer to both your brand, your company, the family, and of course the storytelling. So I will go back to the presentation. Okay. So when I finished my wait just a second. When I finished my project, I got some feedback and I started implementing something. Just a second, it doesn't load. Okay. So I started implementing like suggestions that Professor Abhishek, my tutor, and some friends asked me. So I only here on the presentation I only implemented some, but in the future I will implement other suggestions. For example, as using more sustainable materials. For example, aluminium is not as good as some other maybe biodegradable plastics or other many materials that I could start working with. But so you can see the old brand here and the new brand. Yes, I think it really went a long way. It's very, very different. The old brand was normal, was very, I would say, standard, and the new brand is something that evokes something. So it's nice for me. Then I introduced a range of different flavors, for example, chilies, lemons, basil. So all these flavors that would definitely grow the market, because some people really like flavors. They might like lemon in their olive oil. So I think it was nice to also add different flavors. And then the packaging, I implemented a little change in the packaging, which was another drawing on the empty side of the tin. So I was suggested to add a new drawing because this part of the tin was a little bit empty. So to create to create a better visual consistency, I think an end to create a whole story, I think it was very beneficial that I added a new drawing. So on the left-hand side of the tin, you can see a zero, the base, dropping some branches. On the front part of the tin, you can see the main logo. So the kids acting out the love story and playing. And then on the empty part, I put some houses that basically depict the village where the girl comes from, also my village where I grew up. So I think it's a packaging that really tells a story from the very start to the end. So yes, this was some of the suggestions that I got and started implementing in my project. I think, yeah, I really value all suggestions and feedback. And to conclude, obviously, I thought during my project, future opportunities came to my mind. For example, the first that I started talking about earlier was implementing eco-friendly packaging, investing in sustainable materials like compostable plastics or future compostable aluminum. I think would further strengthen the brand's sustainability positioning, because as I said previously, a large segment of the olive oil industry really values sustainability. So creating a product that implements that employs sustainable packaging, I think it would be very good especially for this segment and for the environment, obviously. Expanded product lines. So as I said earlier, developing new olive oil varieties expands the market. Then certifications and awards are incredibly important in this industry. So doing competitions, pursuing further quality or sustainability certification would put the brand on top, or at least would enhance the positioning of the brand. Then international expansion. Obviously, this kind of projects would need to start small. So at the moment, my family and I, we sell this product to friends or local clients, but I would eventually start with the website that I create, the e-commerce that I create, start an international expansion. For example, just start shipping to different countries based on demand, obviously. Then experiential marketing activities. I think this side of tourism is growing increasingly. So like hosting olive oil tastings, I think it would be interesting to taste different olive oils, different flavors, as I said, do farm tours, workshops. So something that would really create a bond between the clients, between the customers and us and the brand. And then finally, the collaborations and partnerships, collaborating with chefs, restaurants, influencers. Now it's very essential to implement this kind of promotions. And yeah, and just creating partnerships and new opportunities for local activities as well with my brand. It's crucial. And yeah, I think it is a very growing market, the olive oil industry in general. So I really hope to bring this project to life starting from this year. But yeah, again, it was very, very, very nice to test this project, to create it. I think this final major project really sparked something in me that I really didn't know. I knew that I loved olive oil and the olive oil industry in general, but I think this project really sparked something in me that, well, I want to keep growing. So yeah, this is all. Thank you for listening. I hope you liked it. And yeah, I will stop sharing my screen so you can see. Yeah, can you see me now?
Vanessa, thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. It was quite a storytelling for us as well, and it's really gratifying for us to see that you have the amount of effort you have given to the final major project as a milestone, of course, academic, but also something which you plan to take it to the future. And that's always been the ideal that we have as a school strive to when it comes to the final major project as well. So really glad to hear about the developments. Really glad to rehear about your project, and there are so many things that. There are so many emotions this project invokes. I think that's evokes. I think that's something very, very different and remarkable.
Thank you so much.
We have a few questions, but before I get there, I think I'll just make a point on, and I have a few questions which I will put later, but I would like to make a point on how well you have studied and mapped the context of your intervention. So you looked at it and you filtered down from a global to a local scenario. And I think that's something which you presented in your presentation as well. But that is something extremely important in the scope of a design project, because it helps us understand how a project which has a certain intention places itself within the larger conversation or larger discourse surrounding a certain specific field. And in this case, it was packaging design, but not only. And that's something which we will get to later on. Now, coming to some of the questions which have been put forward in the chat. Vanda, our alumni from the masters, notes thanks you for sharing and presenting your project, and raises the following questions. Given that the product olive oil is positioned as premium in your case, of course, and slightly niche as well, how are the different types of olive oil distinguished? For example, virgin, extra virgin. Is it through color, or is it through writing? How can people distinguish between the grading?
Okay, so do you refer to the general designation, for example, virgin olive oil in general, or on the packaging? Because on the packaging, it was not very clear because it's very small in the presentation, but I put that it's extra virgin olive oil. So I'm not sure if you're referring, I'm reading the question in the packaging. Oh, on the packaging, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you could see it, but so there was the logo, and under the logo, I wrote that it's pressed solely from our olives, pressed with cold temperatures, which really defines the extra virginity of olive oil. So this was basically, yeah, what differentiated the brand. So I both wrote it there on the front packaging and on the and behind on the at the back. So yes, but do you think also, Professor,
Okay.
if you do you think um, I should make it more clear?
Actually, the query is whether you have any other quality, or is it just, or is it fair to say that you just have, or the brand only offers extra virgin olive oil
Yeah, it
and
does.
no other quality?
Yeah,
So,
the extra virgin, yeah.
okay. So, yeah, so because it's usual for people to, opt for different qualities, but
Mhm.
this brand, it only sells extra virgin olive oil, and I think that's one of the values which are, as you said, a distinguishing feature and should be promoted
Mhm.
in the website or wherever you think it's, of course, on the bottle itself, but also in its communication. All right. The other question is, as this is a family-run activity with several years of experience, so your family has been doing it for a while.
Mhm.
Is there any historical element that distinguishes your family from other olive oil producers? Is there anything specific which to the process, or I mean, if it's a family secret, please do not give it out
No,
at
it's
this
okay. I
moment.
mean, it's a public project, and of course, our
Okay.
products are public, so
All
it's no
right,
problem
all
at
right.
all.
But just to understand, if there is something specific, a historical, how do I say, I mean, marker which distinguishes your product from the other families which produce. For example, it could be the introduction of a certain material or a certain way of making during the process. That could be one of the areas or one of the distinguishing features, or it can be, just plain and proper olive oil production, but done in a extremely rigorous and quality controlled manner. That could also be, the fact that it is artisanal is by itself, a distinguishing feature. So, do you think is there anything in specific which could be used to point out your product?
So I would say in the process itself, I mean, if you produce olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, the standard process is to bring the olives to the mill uh, in a certain amount of time, for example, in 12 to 24 hours, which is the standard that extra virgin olive oil needs to follow. So in the process itself, there is nothing particular, but that's why I wanted to do this project, because I wanted to create something. I wanted to implement design in my company's family, because the company has always been obviously in the agricultural industry, so there's nothing design in that. So that's why I wanted to do this final major project about this, because yeah, I wanted to create a packaging that differentiated the family, that they made it stand out. So if that is your question, I think, yeah, I wanted to create something different through design. I wanted to leverage design to create a new packaging, to create new social media, to basically address the challenges and the gaps that the family was lacking, or going through. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's an extremely important point, and it's a fair point. And I think in some ways this kind of manuality, is receding in when it comes to production, be it due to automation, be it due to heavy machinery, be it due to larger scale of production, which on one hand has its benefits, but on the other has its compromises as well. So a process like this, which is artisanal, which is time tested, has been done in the same way for centuries, if not more. And to tell the story of that by itself becomes an act of design, right? It becomes an act of communication. So I think in that sense, it makes it has its own advantages. For instance, there are many artisanal cultures, many artisanal crafts, which have been contributing to socioeconomics for a long time, but their story has not been told. They have not been inscribed in the discourse. And often packaging becomes a way in which to bring attention to these dissolving or disappearing practices, so that their values can be promoted in a way that sustains their contemporary relevance. So I think in that sense, your work, mediating between the old and the new paradigms has been quite remarkable. All
Perfect.
right.
And I wanted to
Um,
add just one thing. You said perfectly that, and I wanted to add that sometimes you really need to tell the story, and you need to inform the people in general, customers, about the both the health benefits and the story, how activities, what activities are going on in the company, because people just don't know because they're not working there, so they just don't know. It's not a fault. So sometimes this results in not justifying the price. For example, extra virgin olive oil, of course, is more expensive than olive oil, the normal standard olive oil. So this way to implement the storytelling and tell your company story and understand why we do such product really justifies the price, and it's a little bit easier to say, okay, I might spend a little bit more, but the product is excellent, and the packaging you've been designing, so you've been really putting a lot of effort and time into your creation, into your product. So I would definitely pay a little bit more for this.
And I think there's a growing recognition of this,
Mm.
as there's a growing interest towards connecting with human aspects of production. And I think that's where it also makes sense. And also the fact that, we are moving towards different paradigms of economies. We're moving towards experience economies, experience-based economies, and where these kinds of stories matter. So when they're having that product, when they're consuming that product, they know where it comes from, they know the hands that produced it, they know its backstory. It becomes a different perceived experience. It has a different perceived value than just buying off the supermarket and using it in your salad. All right. Um, the next question is from Edgar, who would like to ask, how was the market analysis conducted? How and where was the data collected and analyzed? So, of course, you did the overall analysis of the context of intervention, but when it came to your product and the specificities of the context in which it was placed, how did you understand, or how did you gather who were for instance, the stakeholders, who were the clients, how was the market like, who would be the competitors? What was your process in this case?
Yeah, so I think this was the most difficult, but probably the most important part of the project, because it really revealed so much information about both my product, well, both the clients and both, of course, my product, because building a brand is also about, actually, is mostly about your clients. So it was crucial to do it, to conduct a very thorough market analysis. So what I did was mainly go to Statista. I really used the website because it has so many graphics, so many statistics, so many information that really compares. For example, it was important for me to compare countries where who are the leading countries and who are the leading companies. So this statistics was just clear. Having graphics is a very clear way to understand instead of just reading a lot of words about things. Just having graphics. Okay, Italy is leading company, Spain is also leading company. What is the strengths, the opportunities? That's why I also conducted a SWOT analysis of competitors. So to answer your question, it was important to collect data about countries, and that's where Statista came to the project, to help the project. And then of course, I had to search about articles, blogs. I went to see the companies' websites. So I remember listing like 5 or 6 main companies. For example, Deoleo, which is a very huge olive oil company, and I analyzed all these companies with a SWOT analysis. So I analyzed the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, the threats, and by doing this, I really wanted to inform my own product. So yeah, the main data that I analyzed was graphics, competition, and yeah, what revealed the most important information is basically comes from the analysis from the competitors. In fact, if you see my report, I think I spent 3 to 4 pages about competitors.
Yeah, and at any point, was there a any dedication made to local competitors? And for instance, did you consult your parents in this regard, or sources closer to home when it came to understanding the market?
I think I should have done that more, because when you approach a project, you really start from a very broad perspective, but then you forget, okay, but where's the closest part that I can go to? So I think I should have done that a little bit more. Obviously, my parents were part of the project. I consulted them, but their opinion is always not neutral, so it's always good. So it's very important to also talk to other people. And I got asked to create one of my tints from a very good friend. I don't know if she is in the meeting. Probably, yeah, probably no, I don't know. She said she was going to come, but anyway, she said, I would like to have your tin, your olive tin in my kitchen. So that was very, very very good encouragement. So yeah, but to answer your question, I think I should have done that more. I should have gone local a little bit more.
I think since, and this is a very good starting locus, let's say, for a bigger intervention. And I think going forward, it might be essential to create or to look into your or within your vicinity and to create interpersonal relationships, because these are the kinds of ligations that often enable aspects such as, stakeholders perhaps creating connections with local restaurants as a pilot for
Yeah.
regional restaurants, and contacting regional restaurants. So I think all these can be connected. It need not only be research for creating the brand, but it can also be research for outreach of the brand as well. All right. I hope that answers Edgar's question. But Vanda asks a very technical query, which is all are premium, of course, all these are priced, all are premium, but there is a difference between fine and extra fine. Uh, However, as you have already indicated that you're going to provide only one quality,
Mhm.
I'm sure it's going to be extra fine, I'm assuming. But
Yeah,
it
yeah,
can also,
yeah, of course,
yeah.
of course. It's all based on the process and on the olives. So there are many varieties of olives, and we do have a variety that is very good. It's quite famous. It's called Canino, if you want to search for it. I think it's yeah, it's just very good, and we only produce extra virgin olive oil because that's where what our olives want to be pressed in a good way.
All right. And the other question is from Sarah, if I'm not mistaken, does the story progress from product package uh, to something else, to another context? Sarah, if you could clarify whether you're meaning another product category, or do you mean, for instance, the story progressing from the tin to, for example, the website?
Um, I'm not sure about the question.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's what.
maybe I can explain.
Mhm.
So you have this drawing of these two children or two kids, and I was wondering if this story, because you are talking about storytelling, and this creates like an environment or a context that this story is happening in this package, and I was wondering if this story would evolve from, you have the other packages that you developed, like the olive with lemon and the olive with something else.
Yeah.
It changed colors, but I was wondering if the story would also evolve, so just an idea.
I think it would be very, very interesting. I didn't think about it, but I think we could create different or limited editions, for example, with a different story. So maybe the kids are acting out a love story because they are 10 years old, but maybe they grow, and that doesn't mean that I have to draw an adult, but something that maybe reminds of those kids. Maybe they're getting married and I don't know, they create a ring with an olive. I don't know, something like that. But it could really be nice to create limited edition products with the evolution of the story. So that's actually not a question, but a suggestion. So I really appreciate it, Sarah. Yeah, I think it would be good. I don't know what at the moment. I didn't think about it, but the evolution of the story of the first tin would be very nice. So thank you for suggesting this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a very interesting observation, and I think it's a good suggestion as well, because in some way it would introduce freshness to the product itself. So not all tins perhaps or could be the same. I mean, it could change. The story could change seasonally, for
Yeah.
instance.
Yeah.
So and that could be a point of interest for the closest thing I can remember is from my home country, India. We have a butter brand which creates stories on its packaging, different story every time. Mm. Mostly connected with what's happening politically or geopolitically, but it keeps changing. So the product itself remains the same, but the packaging keeps changing. But of course, it would depend, on how the packaging is implemented, how it's printed, convenience, logistics. All these will also dictate certain terms. All right. Another question which is very interesting and which I had as well was regarding the drawings. Again, Edgar asks whether the giving or the offering of an olive branch, which is a universal symbol for peace, is that part of the story, or is it part of the storytelling? I mean, um, offering a bouquet is or could be slightly different from offering an olive branch. If you're if you are offering an olive branch, you're basically saying that, I mean, I'm sorry or something like that. So did you consider that aspect, what actually means offering an olive branch?
So to be completely honest with you, obviously, no, I didn't think about it. I didn't mean to give a very deep meaning to my logo other than just purity, authenticity, nostalgia. Basically, what I really wanted to convey was nostalgia. If you see two kids, it just reminds you of your childhood. And when I was doing the logo, I was really thinking about me, about my childhood in my village and being constantly surrounded by the olive trees and by countryside. So the logo itself, it doesn't really have a deeper meaning than that, but I think storytelling is also this, that you can take something else, you can take your story, your own perception, your own experience. And I think I really enjoy you asking me this, because I didn't think about it, but your experience made you reflect about it. So I think this is where design really is successful. It's successful when you tell a story and it reaches a person in a different way, and it reaches you from a different perspective, and it is from your experience. So that's very beautiful.
But also, it's something to do with happy coincidence, because although
Mhm.
you may not have thought of it, but there is a meaning, and if that could be somehow articulated within the scheme of things, I think it would be something interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, offering an olive branch. It's universal actually.
Yeah.
All right. So Vanda, who puts forward another very interesting question. One aspect Vanda noticed was that olive harvest is semi-manual, carried out during the day and in a way that generally respects the trees and the environment. In Portugal, in intensive olive farming, birds
Mm.
suffer greatly during this period. This could be a very positive message to communicate, perhaps through the website.
Okay. Yes, I think yes. We do use semi-manual. We do have quite few plants, so doing everything manual would be costly, would be very long. It would take 1 year, and of course you have to do everything within 2 months, which is the harvesting season. So we do semi-manual. I don't go on the tractor, and I don't harvest myself. I do the rest on the ground. But for example, I always see my dad talking about respecting the trees. So picking the olives in a way that just makes the olives
Drop.
drop like naturally and without stressing too much. And that's what I really stress with people working with us and people working with the olive trees in general. So you have to respect the tree. It doesn't matter how much olive trees you have. It doesn't matter how much olive oil you want to produce. You have to respect the tree. Otherwise, this really has impact on the next season. If the tree is stressed, it will be stressed in the next season. So it really is not a good way to just stress the trees because you want to just go faster and produce more. It's not the way we work. So obviously, this is also something that we should put on the website.
Great. So we have some good suggestions. Of course, we've had a good conversation. We're almost at closing. So Vanessa, if you can share your email on the chat.
So shall I share my personal email or?
Danielle, do you have a query?
Well, I just wanted to say that I have heard two things now that are really touching, and the one was the story about your childhood, with the real inspiration for the logo you draw, which is absolutely touching. So remember this when telling the story, because this should be at the beginning, because that's where this logo really comes from, at least from a point of heart view.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's what captured me the most in the whole presentation now. And the second is, I noticed when going on your website that the first or second picture is the one of your father with the tractor. But
Mhm.
keep in mind that people from other countries or also from who have never seen an olive harvest in
Mhm.
reality, they do not know anything about this. And what we associate with seeing a tractor is industrialization, and all the bad things that you just talked about that you are not doing. So instead of maybe this needs just a little explanation or some kind of warning that this is not the track
Yeah.
going
I
through
understand.
like
I
crazy. You know
completely
what I mean?
understand. Yes.
So that's something I noticed because that's the second part of your story that's really touching. Your father that enables you to value the natural environment
Yeah.
of your product every day, every second, and in everything you're doing. So that's at least from what I've heard today, the most powerful stuff. And you talked about special editions, and this is the last thing I would like to say from the very beginning, because of the name you choose. The question that comes to mind is, why is there no terracotta packaging? I know it's possible. I know it's difficult, but I know it's also possible. So maybe there is a special edition coming up that you could sell with the name, because if the name is terracotta and you use tin or plastics or whatever new material we'll get in the upcoming future, it's still not the real deal. That's your name.
I understand that completely. Of course, using terracotta would obviously increase price. Not only, I mean, terracotta is just terracotta, so it's nothing too expensive. But creating a whole packaging with terracotta and that, obviously, it would increase the price. And I could do it as a special edition, as a limited, packaging edition. So it would be amazing. I also thought about, like my boyfriend was saying, maybe you can do not a 10, but a 0, like a base. So that would definitely, with 0, that is the base. So of course I could have. But yes, obviously it's work in progress. It will be forever, I think. So all the suggestions from designers and from people from this industry and not from this industry are always and always valuable, I think. So
Yeah, I didn't mean to play down the
no,
tin
not at
choice
all. It's
because
just
it's
suggestions.
100% understandable. Also to start, I just in late last July 25, I bought a tin can of high quality olive oil in Italy, 3 liters, because otherwise, how do we take it home easily in the car? Because with glass, you have the possibility that it breaks. And of course, with terracotta, you would need, as you said, a packaging around it, maybe a box with some foam or something, maybe some olive leaves that you could put in to just soften the package and so on and so forth. Of course, there comes a lot of work with it.
Yeah.
But of course, the name suggests that there at least should be a 200-liter terracotta bowl when you visit the farm, or maybe
Okay,
2,000.
I
It
will.
should be huge, okay? Larger
Yeah,
than the house.
I will definitely put one big, huge terracotta vase with an olive tree inside.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah, no, congratulations. It's a
Thank
really
you so much.
interesting and very nice project.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Yeah, and
Thank
all
you.
the best for it.
Thank you.
Well, if there are no further questions, Vanessa, again, if you could just put in, you've already put in, okay, great. And the contact for anybody interested to learn more, you can contact Vanessa directly through her email. Of course, I'd urge you to visit her website, at least her Instagram, to learn more about the project and to keep tabs with its development going forward. At least I am very excited to see, how it realizes in the future. And saying that, Vanessa, thank you again for this wonderful presentation. Thank you for sharing your project. I hope that was, well, for me at least, it was quite inspirational. And I hope everybody got something to learn through this masterclass. Lekha is asking what was the Instagram account again? So if you could just quickly put that in the chat. But thank you everyone for joining. And well, we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you so much, Professor Abhishek. It was very, very nice to share my project. It was very personal, very familiar. So sharing it with you, it was just something special for me. So thank you so much for joining, for attending, and I will see you when I do.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.